Hello, my dear learners. Welcome to this online learning platform of Sri Basava Public School. Children, how many times you felt a taining or need of satisfaction, or the want of contentment or pleasure? What we are going to read today, a poem written by Thomas Hardy, also talks about how he achieved this satisfaction and where he went to achieve this. Yes, let's start with a new poem today from your textbook Honeydew, chapter 7th poem named When I Set Out for Lyonnesse by Thomas Hardy. So, children, let's know more about the writer, the poet of the poem When I Set for Lyonnesse, that is Thomas Hardy. He was born in 1840 and died in 1928. He was born on 2nd June 1840 in Stetsonsford, United Kingdom. Died on 11th January 1928 in Dorchester, United Kingdom. The works or the poems which he has written, those are The Darkling Thrush, Neutral Tones, The Wise, The Convergence of the Twain, The Man He Killed, many more. Occupation of the Thomas Hardy is he is known for his novelist work. He is poet and short story writer. So this is short information of the poet. Children, the underlying idea to write this poem was the poet want to attain the fulfillment or satisfaction in life. He wanted to attain the happiness which was priceless. So he went to a imaginary land called Lyonnesse, and he was an architect who was working as a trainer who took training by being a mount. One day he goes to place called Lyonnesse where there is a small church was being restored or renovated. His job was to supervise that work. Now this poem was divided into three parts, three stanzas, where the first stanza explaining about how he felt and how was his journey, and the second stanza is explaining about the worries, doubts, because he doesn't know what is going to happen there and nobody could predict it. And in the third stanza he is talking about when he come back there was a change, there was a glow on his face and magic in his eyes. Nobody knew what had happened, but yes, there was a fulfillment, a pleasure inside his heart. So now let's start the reading of the poem stanza wise. When I set out for Lyonnesse, 100 miles away, the rim was on the spree, and starlight it lit my lonesomeness. When I set out for Lyonnesse, 100 miles away. Children, underline the word rim. It means ice frost, hoar water ice. Okay, it is a kind of a frost which will be on the water. Lonesomeness, it means feeling lonely, feeling alone. Lyonnesse, it means a imaginary place of poet which he imagined in his mind. In this first stanza, we see that the poet set out for Lyonnesse, which was situated 100 miles away. It was a winter and weather was cold, so the ice frost on water. The shine in the night sky helped him when he was lonely. He had no idea what would happen during his stay at Lyonnesse. When he is sharing his experience when he was on the journey of Lyonnesse, when he visited there, the weather was very cold and the shine of the night was helping him in his loneliness. And also he was not having any idea what will be happen with him at that in that journey. So this is the explanation of first stanza. Let's move on towards the second stanza. What would be Bechance at Lyonnesse, while I should sojourn there, no prophet durst declare, nor did the wisest wizard guess what would be chance at Lyonnesse while I should sojourn there. So, children, underline the word first, sojourn. It means a temporary stay. And underline the word bechance, it means find by chance. children, in the second stanza, the poet expresses his unsurety, doubtness about what would happen at Lyonnesse with him. He says that he doesn't know what awaits him at Lyonnesse, what is going to happen with him at Lyonnesse. The poet also says that even a prophet or a wisest wizard would fail to predict the experience accurately and vividly. So he was very doubtful, he was very lonely at that place, and he was awaiting, or he was awaiting what would happen with him, and no can predict the experience of him when he was in the Leones. So he is trying to say that in the second stanza. So let's move on towards the third stanza as well as the last stanza of the poem. When I returned from Leonis with a magic in my eyes, all marked with mute surmise, my radiance rare and fathomless. When I returned from Leonis with a magic in my eyes. So, children, underline the word mute, it means silent, and underline the word surmise, it means a fact, something which is true without having any evidence to confirm it, but it is a true. Next, underline the another word radiance. It means reflected by something. Okay, it means reflected by something. And the fathomless, it means unable to understand. Unable to understand. In the third stanza, the poet describes what happened on his return. When he was returned from his Leonis, his imaginary world, on his journey, that time on his face, after returning from that place, from that magic Leonis, people noticed two things about him: a new glow in his eyes and a crumpled piece of paper sticking out of his coat pocket. So, children, when he was back from the Leonis, the people started to notice a kind of a glow on his face, magic in his eyes, and also a piece of a paper which is sticking out of his coat pocket. But it is a true according to the poet, which he is thinking, and he thought that he went for Leonis imaginary world. It is a kind of a true without having any kind of evidence to confirm it. So third stanza is expressing the returned experience and the changes in poet. Second stanza is describing the doubtfulness, loneliness, and the fear of what happens with him. And the first stanza is talking about the fulfillment, desires, and pleasure of being at that place. So I hope you understand the explanation of the poem. Here I have summary of the poem which you are supposed to write in your classwork, children, with the poem. I'll read out for you. Thomas Hardy once visited a parish to supervise the restoration of a church. On his return, people noticed two things about him. There was a new glow in his eyes. There was also a piece of a paper peeping out of his coat pocket. This paper had the draft of the present poem. The poet says that he had gone for the restoration of a church. When he started, he hardly knew that the visit would be so invigorating. It proved to be like visiting Lyonnesse. He had left for the parish all alone on a very cold evening. The parish was 100 miles away. The foliage was covered with frost, a kind of ice. The stars guided his lonesome path. He had to stay at the parish for some time. In that short period, he found something happening to him. It was an inner change which was sudden and unexpected. The poet says that at the start of his journey, no one could think of such a change in him. No prophet or a wizard could have guessed the happening there. When the poet returned from the parish, everyone noticed a glow in his eyes. They did not speak a word, however, they were impressed by the rare and deep radiance of his eyes. So, this is the summary of the poem. I hope you understand, children. Thank you so much for watching this video.